The most powerful noble, named Rai, had been reawakened from more than 800 years of sleep. One night, a group of people took the coffin in which he was sleeping. They took him to an abandoned building, but when the full moon came, he suddenly woke up. The next morning, he immediately looked for his assistant, named Frankenstein, who was managing a school at that time. When he got to the school, he met Shin at the gate, who could not enter because he was late. Shin was wondering who this guy was because he could not recognize him, and after a few moments, the gate suddenly opened and the guy disappeared. When Frankenstein felt that his master was already outside his office, he immediately opened it and knelt down to meet him. They talked about Frankenstein's current job as a school director. Because of Rai's long sleep, he knew that he had a lot to learn in the modern era, so he wanted to study here. When he entered the class where he was assigned, he introduced himself as Catus et Trauma de Raizel, and Shin suddenly stood up because he remembered him. Their teacher thought that the two of them knew each other, so Rai was told to sit beside him, causing the girls to glare at Shin out of jealousy. Meanwhile, the two members of the organization arrived at the abandoned building. They were known as M21 and M24 and were supposed to take the coffin. They became angry with the watchman because the coffin was no longer there. So M24 tried to figure out whether the watchman was telling the truth, and he found that there was a female witness in his memory. They used it to find the woman because she might know where they could find what they were looking for. While Raizel, or better known as Rai, was in the canteen with Shin and Aiken, the girls were still staring at him. Shin made him taste the ramen, and it became his favorite. When they were on their way home, they heard a woman scream and Shin immediately went to her. When he got there, he immediately kicked the monster that was about to attack their classmate, named Yuna. When the monster stood up, they got scared and ran, but Rai suddenly felt that someone was hiding behind the wall, and it turned out to be M21 and M24. Because of this, they immediately felt that Rai was not ordinary. After a few days of searching for the coffin, they saw Rai and his classmates again. While they were watching them, M21 was shocked when his and Rai's eyes met. Suddenly, their other colleagues, named Jake and Marie, came there with a plan to kill Shin because they had witnessed the secret of their organization. When Shin's group was on the way home, they were surprised when Jake suddenly appeared to them. They were also suddenly attacked by M21, and they immediately lost consciousness. According to M21, these students had another classmate, and they needed to catch him as well. While Rai and Frankenstein were talking, Frankenstein received a text, and it was from Shin's cell phone, which was used by Jake. On the other hand, the monster was about to eat their classmate, but Shin attacked the monster to save her. Then they immediately ran to escape. Rai and Frankenstein quickly moved to go to where Shin and the others were located. Although the message was not clear, they knew that Rai's classmates were in danger. When Shin and his companions entered the elevator, Jake quickly caught up with them. M24 came and saw that Shin was currently fighting Jake, but due to their strength gap, Shin was just being beaten. M24 suddenly remembered their colleagues who were also beaten by Jake before, so in his anger, he suddenly punched Jake. M21 also immediately found out about this, which was why Marie attacked him too. After Jake got up, he immediately attacked M24. But M24 still managed to get hold of Jake, and then he blew himself up. As M21 and Marie continued to fight, M21 was just getting beaten up. He tried to attack, but Marie still defeated him. When she was about to kill M21, Frankenstein suddenly came there to stop her. After M21 saw Rai, he felt something strange again. He was thinking that Rai could possibly help to at least save M24. So he immediately told them where they could find Shin and that he wanted to fight Marie again. But his plan did not work out because Rai ordered Frankenstein to fight Marie, and he wanted M21 to guide him to where Shin and the others were located. A few minutes after the explosion, Jake got up again and approached Shin and his friends. But Rai suddenly came there, and M21 immediately rushed at Jake, but he was just being beaten by the opponent. Meanwhile, Frankenstein and Marie started to fight, and since Marie could feel Frankenstein's strength, she decided to release her true power. She attacked Frankenstein again until Rai gave Frankenstein permission to break his seal, so that he could release his true power and defeat his opponent. Frankenstein followed his command, and Marie could not believe the power that he was showing. When he attacked, Marie could do nothing, and this caused her to be defeated immediately. After Jake beat M21, he approached Rai. He thought that Rai was afraid of him because he could not look at him. Rai suddenly forcibly made him kneel, and he said that in that way, he could now look at him. M21 was shocked by what Rai did, so he immediately thought that Rai might be the one that they were looking for, who was known as the Noblesse. Jake tried to stand up but failed. Since he was having a hard time, he decided to transform into a monster. When he was about to attack, Rai made him kneel again. Rai also made Shinwoo and their classmates to sleep, so they would not witness what was going to happen. Jake tried to attack again, but he still could not do anything because of Rai's strong power. After a while, Rai used Jake's own blood to kill him. M21 was stunned by what he witnessed, and Frankenstein came there too. After the fight, they brought M21 to their house to ask him about his true identity, including Jake and Marie's, and from the ability they had shown, it only proved that they were not ordinary people either. So M21 mentioned that they were members of an organization called the Union. Together with M24, both of them were just experiment subjects to support Jake and Marie's mission. Frankenstein knew that M21 had nowhere else to go, and with his betrayal on the organization, they would surely find and kill him. So he told M21 to stay at their house if he wanted to, and it was to show him their gratitude for saving Shinwoo and the others. But it was not for free because he needed staff for his school in order to maintain its security. The next day, M21 started his work. Rai deleted Shinwoo's memories of the other night and replaced them with other memories. One day, some cars suddenly entered the school. The intruders were looking for Shinwoo, and when M21 came there, he caught them making trouble and threatening other students. He hesitated to approach them until the old janitor came and tried to beg the troublemaker to stop. As he was about to punch the old man, Shinwoo suddenly came there and blocked it by his injured arm. It turned out that this guy was jealous of Shinwoo because he thought that Shinwoo was trying to flirt on his girlfriend. It punched Shinwoo repeatedly until he hit him on the face. Rai came there and stared at M21 as if he was trying to find out what M21 would do in that situation. So when the old man once again talked to the troublemaker, M21 came to intervene. Because of M21's great strength, the troublemaker was unable to defend himself. M21 also threatened him not to come back. One day, when M21 was about to close the gate, Regis and Sierra arrived at the school. When he and Regis looked at each other, he felt strange because his eyes resembled Rai's. He accompanied them to Frankenstein's office, and Frankenstein immediately recognized their race. Since they did not know Frankenstein, Regis used his power, which was similar to Rai, and told him that they wanted to study at the school. Regis thought that what he did to Frankenstein worked, and in order for Regis not to notice it, Frankenstein pretended to be under his spell and followed what Regis said. After that, Frankenstein immediately informed Rai about Regis and Sierra. When they were introduced to the whole class, Regis immediately felt the strong aura that was surrounding Rai. Since Shinwoo was assigned to help the newly transferred students, he tagged them along and ate together. When Frankenstein was about to go home, he saw M21 waiting for him. While driving, they talked about Regis and Sierra as well as the Noblesse. M21 told him that the Union organization was looking for the Noblesse. He learned that it had a very strong power that could not be explained by the organization's science. Since they were only low-level personnel of the organization, they did not know any other details about the Noblesse. So Frankenstein also narrated to him the other information he knew about Rai's race. When they got home, they found Rai and the others eating their snack. Because of this, Shinwoo also found out that M21 also lived there. And since Regis and Sierra had nowhere to stay, Shinwoo suggested that they could probably live in the house for the meantime like M21. Frankenstein could not do anything about it because Rai did not see any problem with the suggestion. A few hours later, and while Frankenstein and M21 were washing the dishes, Sierra was about to enter to help them. She saw the tattoo on M21's hand. The next day, she immediately informed Regis about it. She believed that it was the symbol of the Union organization among their modified human creations. They had a suspicion that M21 had something to do with the disappearance of the coffin and the discoveries they had made, so they wanted to confirm it. In the afternoon, when M21 was about to go home, he was met by Regis. Regis asked him what was his purpose in socializing with people. Since Regis already knew that he was a modified human, he also said that he did not like him because he abandoned his being human just to gain power. Meanwhile, as Rai and the others were walking home, they were met by 4 men who were enemies of Shinwoo. As the two continued to talk, M21 found out that Regis was also looking for the coffin. When M21 said that the person who stole the coffin was dead, Regis used the mind control on him, but it did not work. The two of them fought, but Sierra suddenly spoke to Regis to inform him of their situation. Shin was single-handedly fought the men who attacked him. Regis and M21 went there, and when Regis was about to intervene, M21 stopped him. He was surprised by what Shin was doing, that he was just beating up his opponents. When one of the enemies pulled out a gun, M21 stopped the fight, then the enemies hurriedly left the area. On the other hand, the Union assigned their Special Forces team, called the A5, under the leadership of Kranz to continue Jake and Marie's mission. From Tao's investigation, they decided to look for M21 or M24 first because they were the ones who helped Jake and Marie in the mission. Just a few days later, Tao immediately got information on M21's location. Because of this, Kranz assigned Hammer and Shark to go to M21. So one night when M21 was on his way home, he was met by Shark and Hammer. They invited him to come along, but M21 immediately refused. That was the moment when Shark insulted M24, and this made M21 got angry and immediately attacked Shark. They both fought, but M21 could not keep up with Shark's speed. Regis and Sierra suddenly arrived, and because Regis knew that the two were also modified human sharks, he insulted them. In Shark's anger, he could not hold back anymore, so he rushed at Regis, but M21 intervened, causing him to receive more injuries and was the one who got hurt. Kranz suddenly came, and M21 recognized him immediately. Regis even tried to interfere with them, but in order for the two not to be involved in the situation, M21 was forced to go with Kranz. M21 was thinking that this was also his chance to learn more about their other companions who were similar to them. When Regis and Sarah got home, Frankenstein also immediately found out what happened to M21. Then he remembered again what M21 had said before about the Union and the search for the coffin. The next morning, Kranz group started to get information from M21. From their way of questioning him, M21 noticed that they did not know about his betrayal on the organization, and they probably thought that he was still on a mission. So he decided to take advantage of it in order to get information too. He told them that he would only talk about what he knew in exchange for information about his colleagues. But according to Kranz, they did not know any information about the other subjects like him. Because of this, Kranz asked Tao to hack the data on the Union's experiments. By afternoon, Tao asked Takeo how he became part of the Union organization. It was only here that Tao found out that Takeo had a sister who was held hostage by the Union, and this forced him to stay in the organization. One night, while Aiken was working on the security system that his uncle asked him to fix, a hacker broke into it. It turned out to be Tao's doing, and because Aiken was challenged, he did not let him get the data easily. Until Shin accidentally removed the cord of the laptop. As a result, Tao was surprised that his competitor had stopped. That was when they had a connection with each other, so one day, they decided to meet. In the same day, Shinwoo and Sierra saw Takeo and was being asked for money by the two men. So Shinwoo approached to save Takeo, and that was when they met. One night, Shark could not wait for the information that they wanted, but M21 still would not speak because he also did not get the information that he was asking for. It was only a few moments when Tao entered, and Takeo stopped Shark on his plan. Shark got pissed by this, so he mentioned that he also killed the ones that Takeo had spared when he left in their previous missions. He also mentioned that the organization might have taken the life of his sister, and this made Takeo got angry and point a gun at Shark, but Tao stopped them from fighting. One day, while Regis was on his way home, he noticed that someone was watching him from the top of the building, and it turned out to be Shark and Hammer. So he left Shinwoo and Aiken, then he faced these men in the square. He and Shark fought, until Shark realized that Regis was not ordinary and should not be underestimated. Shark swallowed a medicine that changed his body. As their battle continued, Shark became stronger and faster. But Regis also brought out his true strength and attacked Shark from behind, which Shark was unable to avoid because Regis was so fast. But Regis suddenly stopped when he saw that Shinwoo and Aiken unconscious next to Hammer. Because of this, he could do nothing but follow their demand. So when they went to their hideout, M21 saw Regis and the others who were still unconscious. Sierra immediately felt that something had happened to Regis from the mental connection between the two of them. After he told Frankenstein about Regis, she left immediately to find him. Since Frankenstein knew that Regis was with Shinwoo and Aiken on their way home, he thought that the two were also in trouble. Sierra immediately found Regis' location, then Rai and Frankenstein also took action. When Shinwoo and Aiken woke up, they could not believe that Tao and Takeo were there too. After Shark kicked Aiken, they also noticed M21. So they asked him why he was there because Shark told them that he was also the reason why they were taken, but M21 would not answer Shinwoo and Aiken. Since M21 was still not talking about the information that they were asking for, Shark suddenly tried to attack Aiken, but Regis immediately blocked him, and he was the one who was beaten by Shark. When Hammer finished his box of chicken, he said that he would get food first. When he got the food and about to return, he saw Sierra entering the building. He stopped her because he knew that she was not an ordinary person. The two of them fought, but Hammer got trapped when the walls collapsed on him after he used his bombs. Sierra continued to look for Regis and entered a warehouse. Hammer showed up again and got stronger after taking a drug. They fought again, but he could not even hit Sierra. Sierra took out her weapon, the death scythe, and finished him in one attack. When Rai and Frankenstein arrived at the building, Takeo was there waiting for them. Frankenstein faced Takeo and told Rai to look for the others. After a while, Takeo also took the drug to become stronger so he could keep up with Frankenstein. Since Frankenstein had not yet given permission to release his true strength, he could not easily fight off the enemy. Takeo pointed a gun behind his head and said that he was going to kill Rai too. This made Frankenstein so mad that he was able to release his true strength. With Frankenstein's speed and strong attacks, Takeo was not able to avoid them and got injured. He tried to attack Frankenstein with all his strength, but he still got defeated. Frankenstein was about to kill him when Sierra came. Unexpectedly, Takeo begged her to save Shinwoo and others. His concern to their companions made Frankenstein change his mind and let him live. As Shark continued to beat Shinwoo, M21 could not take it anymore and was forced to attack Shark. He knew that he was no match to Shark, but he took all the attacks so he could protect the others. At this point, Regis was able to break his handcuffs and aimed an attack to their enemy. Shark took the drug too and became stronger, but he was still no match to Regis' strength. Kranz suddenly appeared and used the same drug to make himself stronger. They thought he was there to help Shark in the fight, but he suddenly punched Shark in the stomach. Kranz told them that the drug was not made to make his companions stronger, instead, it was made for him to be even more stronger by absorbing their strength while they were using it. After he absorbed all of Shark's strength, Regis rushed at him, but because of his speed, Regis could not even hit him. Regis used one of his strongest attacks, but Kranz did not even get a scratch. He punched Regis that hard and made him unconscious. Fortunately, Rai came, and Kranz asked him if he was the one who fought against his comrades. Instead of receiving an answer, Kranz suddenly felt the strong force that made him kneel. He managed to free himself from this power and attacked, but Rai blocked it. With just one word from Rai, Kranz was shoved away by a great force. Kranz ordered Tao to use the medicine so that he could absorb his power to defeat Rai. As Tao was approaching Kranz, Aiken tried to convince him not to follow its order. Kranz got pissed of Aiken and threatened him that after he absorbed the power Tao, he would kill him first. Those words made Tao change his mind and attack Kranz instead. But Kranz grabbed him quickly, and when he was about to punch Tao, Rai stopped him and made him stiff, and then Tao escaped. As Rai prepared to attack, blood suddenly appeared. Regis was surprised when he saw this, because only a few had the ability to control the blood, called the blood field. Kranz continued to attack, but he was trapped in blood and this ended his life. Takeo woke up in Frankenstein's house and saw M21 as well as Shinwoo and Aiken. One night, M21 thought about the incident and felt very weak. Aside from not getting any information about his former colleagues, he also put Shinwoo and others in danger. Rai came and told M21 that he was not weak because he could feel the great power inside him. He tried to unleash the real power of M21 through its blood. Then M21 felt something strange in his body and suddenly changed his appearance. After a few seconds, it immediately disappeared and Rai told him that this was his true form. Meanwhile, Takeo and Tao discussed what Kranz did to Shark and how they were seen as tools to be useful in order to level up Kranz's strength. Their conversation was overheard by M21 when Takeo asked if it was possible for them to get out of the Union. Tao peeked into the organization's server and found out from the record that they were both dead because of the mission. But Takeo was worried about his sibling who was still held by the organization. This was the moment when Tao told Takeo the truth that he did not have a sibling. Tao said that he tried to find the information about his sibling on the organization's server, but it was said to be a fake record, and the hospital where his sibling was staying does not exist. Tao added that the organization just manipulated his memory. The next day, they both decided to leave the house because they did not want to be a burden if they stayed. Before leaving, Tao told M21 that he tried to get the information about his colleagues, but the organization destroyed the data. He also even tried to retrieve the files, but he still failed. When they were about to leave, M21 stopped them and begged Frankenstein to let the two stay with them at home. He answered that it would be fine as long as Rai agreed. Because of this, Frankenstein decided to make them the guardians of the school. One day, they decided to change the memory of Shinwoo and Aiken about the previous battle. When the two arrived at the house, Frankenstein told them both about the plan. Shinwoo could not believe that they could do this, but Frankenstein admitted that they had done this before after the fight with Jake and Mori. Shinwoo could not accept for they already knew that everyone in the house was not ordinary. He also assured them that the public would not know about this. Regis said that this was also for their safety aside from ensuring that people would not know that there were creatures like them. M21 even added that this was similar to what the organization did to them, but the worst thing about the organization was not erasing the memory, but the person who witnessed their abilities and the rest of their family. In the end, Shinwoo and Aiken had no choice but to let Rai erase their memory. One day, someone in the same race came to school and his presence was felt by Rai and Frankenstein. Since M21 and others did not know him, they approached him thinking that he was just a parent of a student. Suddenly, this old man revealed his true aura, which surprised the three of them. Regis and Sierra immediately came to meet this old man who turned out to be the head of their clan, and his name was Gejutel. Frankenstein also came and Gejutel was shocked for he was unable to feel his presence. On the other hand, the current leader of the nobles, Rasri, met the leaders of the different clans, namely Korea's, Rosaria, Rujuk, Ludes and Kay. They talked about Gejutel's departure and the news that they had already found the owner of the coffin. But they all considered Rai as a traitor. Frankenstein took Gejutel into his house. Even though Rai was declared as a traitor among the nobles, Gejutel still had high respect for him because he belonged to the high-level nobles in their race. Rai said that since Regis and Sierra arrived, he knew that the nobles were looking for him. Gejutel also told him about the changes in their kingdom called Ladonia, since the former leader passed away and was replaced by his daughter Rasri. Rasri accused Rai of being the cause of her father's death, so she considered him a traitor. Gejutel wanted Rai to come with him to Ladonia, so that he could prove his innocence. Rai refused and told him that he currently wanted to stay with the humans for the meantime. Regis and others talked about the incident in school. He told them about the races of the nobles, and Tao was curious about Frankenstein's relationship to them. Regis was actually surprised when Gejutel and Frankenstein knew each other. They even admitted that they were more curious about Frankenstein's identity than Rai's. In the past, Frankenstein was known as a noble hunter before he met Rai. He was known as the noble hunter because he killed a lot of nobles. This made other clan leaders visit the father of Rasri, who was the current leader at that time. Together with Rigur, they gave their leader some information about Frankenstein. According to them, Frankenstein was just a human, but they could not identify the source of its power. With this information, their leader asked them to bring him Frankenstein so he could talk to him. After that, the nobles started the hunt to catch Frankenstein. Rigur started to fight Frankenstein using his soul weapon while his opponent used his dark spear. As they fight, Frankenstein informed Rigur the reason why he hated the nobles. He said that the nobles were taking advantage of their power to manipulate the humans. As the power of Frankenstein grew stronger, he was not able to control it until it took over his body. At this rate, Gejutel and his companion used their soul weapon to attack Frankenstein. After the attack, Frankenstein was injured but got a chance to escape. He went to a mansion and met Rai for the first time. He told him that he was a new servant, but Rai did not believe him for he was the owner of the mansion. Suddenly, Gejutel and Rigur came to inform him of their intention to catch Frankenstein and to bring him to their leader. But they were shocked when Rai told the two that Frankenstein was his servant and changed his attire at the same time. Rai even told Gejutel to tell their leader that he did not allow them to bring Frankenstein. So they left after hearing that from Rai. After 5 years of Frankenstein's stay at Rai's mansion, Gejutel told him that he still did not trust Frankenstein. He added that his stay in the mansion was dangerous because he murdered other nobles in the past. Gejutel encouraged Rai to present Frankenstein to their leader, saying that the other nobles might change their views on him if he obeyed. One day, Frankenstein accepted the invitation on him to visit the leader of the nobles. The two of them talked about Rai, and the leader said that he was jealous of him because he was with him. He even offered Rai several times to leave the mansion and live with him, but Rai still would not accept it. The leader also mentioned the role of Rai in their race, and how important he was as his partner in leadership and protecting the nobles. He added that he was like a decoration on the throne without Rai. In the end, the leader also liked Frankenstein and trusted him to take care of Rai. But most of the nobles did not agree with their leader's decision. The leader said that Rai and Frankenstein might have made the blood pact. According to a clan leader named Urokai, it was dangerous to keep Frankenstein by Rai's side. Gejutel added that Rai might be considered an enemy by other nobles, even by those who think of him as a god. But the leader said that he did not want to hinder this if it made Rai happy, and it still depends on whether they both want to carry out the blood pact. Frankenstein returned again because the leader made him the messenger if he wanted to send a message to Rai. He and Gejutel met and he reminded Frankenstein again not to cause trouble because Rai's life depended on it just to keep him in the mansion. Urokai came there and challenged Frankenstein to spar with him. Frankenstein accepted it and they started immediately. At first Frankenstein could not keep up with Urokai's strength, so he used his dark spear. Rhaegar noticed that Frankenstein was holding back from using the dark spear because he might not be able to control it again. Urokai was furious with Frankenstein. He could not accept that someone like Frankenstein would make a blood pact with Rai. It seemed unfair when they themselves as nobles were not even allowed to approach Rai. He added that Rai did not need him, and that he did not need a partner. When Frankenstein heard this, he got angry because Urokai did not know how Rai truly felt. In his anger, he could not stop himself from releasing his intense power and it swallowed him. In the continuation of their fight, one of Urokai's eyes was injured, so Gejutel and Rhaegar intervened to stop them. When Frankenstein prepared to attack again, Rai and their leader arrived. Rai approached Frankenstein, but he was attacked by him. He used the blood field and blocked Frankenstein's next attack. That was when he made the blood pact with Frankenstein, causing him to calm down and lost consciousness. When Frankenstein woke up, he was already in the mansion and immediately went to Rai. Rai asked for tea, and to complete the blood pact between the two of them, Frankenstein puts his blood in the tea so that Rai could drink it, as his acceptance of this agreement. At present, Gejutel told Frankenstein that he wished he could have stopped his blood pact with Rai. He added that it would be nice if Rai would come with him when he returned to Ladonia, and if he could prove that he was not the one who killed the former leader, Rai could live there again. But Frankenstein replied that this was not what Rai wanted. Rai was already happy with his current life and with those around him. After a few hours, Gejutel said goodbye to return to Ladonia. He wanted Regis and Sierra to stay there and live the kind of life they wanted. When he arrived in Ladonia, he lied to Rasri and to other clan leaders. He said that Regis and Sierra were wrong in the information they gave. Rasri wanted to read Gejutel's memory, but since it was not easy, she decided to read the memory of Sierra, since she was also a clan leader. He ordered Rajuk to fetch Sierra and lock up Gejutel. Raizel, Rajuk's brother, suddenly entered and volunteered to be the one who would go and take Sierra. He liked Sierra that much, so he wanted to do it so he could see her, and Rasri agreed. Raizel immediately started his mission and went to school. He used his power that was immediately felt by Rai and the others. When he got down the building, he met the three guardians and attacked M21. Regis and Sierra arrived and asked Raizel what he was doing there. But Raizel was only talking to Sierra, and when he was annoyed with Regis, he suddenly attacked him. At Sierra's command, he also released Regis and asked Sierra to go with him to Ladonia. Sierra rejected it and sent Raizel away, though he immediately followed her command. She told her that he would return. They talked at home about what happened at school. Regis told Frankenstein and Rai that Raizel wanted to bring Sierra back to Ladonia. They did not expect that he had been released after Raizel locked him up when he destroyed Sierra's place because Sierra refused to be his girlfriend. After Frankenstein examined Takeo and Tao's bodies, they asked about M21's condition. Frankenstein told them that he would recover soon due to the rapid healing of his wounds. Frankenstein thought that it might be because Rai had shown M21's true power the other night. The two were disappointed in themselves for what happened to M21 because they could not do anything after Raizel attacked him. For this reason, they both begged Frankenstein to help them get stronger. With Frankenstein's knowledge and with the use of his facility, they knew that Frankenstein could do this to them. Regis and Sierra talk about Raizel and his behavior that Regis could not accept. Regis knew that one of the reasons why he wanted to get Sierra was because he was the next clan leader, and he thought that he would also be able to take the leadership of Sierra's clan because Sierra was the current leader of their clan. Sierra remembered what Raizel said before he left that day, so she told Regis not to worry about her and that he should go to sleep. Sierra left the house and Rai felt it. Rai was about to go out to follow Sierra, but Frankenstein was already waiting outside and said that he would take care of it. Before he left, he gave Frankenstein permission to remove the seal that held back his power. When Sierra approached Raizel, she immediately asked him by what he meant when he said that he did not want her to be sad. Raizel said that he just wanted his feelings to push Sierra to take action. He also wanted to keep Sierra away from Regis and from those disgusting people. Sierra did not like what Raizel had said about the people, and made it clear to him that she would not leave her life with these people to join him. Raizel got angry, but Frankenstein suddenly attacked. The two of them fought, and because Raizel did not know Frankenstein, he was surprised by his speed, until he was injured from the attack. That was the moment that he decided to bring out his soul weapon, Grandia. Even though he was not yet a clan leader, he already had his own soul weapon. He immediately attacked Frankenstein and injured him, but Frankenstein just laughed it off. That was when Frankenstein once again took out his dark spear. They continue their battle, and with the force of their attacks, the tremors were felt in Frankenstein's house. Regis came there and Sierra begged him to help her stop the fight between the two. When they did this, she told Raizel to leave. But Raizel showed them the issued the order from their leader, causing Sierra and Regis to kneel immediately. Regis also wanted to go back to Ladonia, but Raizel did not allow him, and he also told them about Gejutel's condition. When Frankenstein returned to the house, he immediately told Rai that the leader of the nobles had ordered that Sierra should return and about Gejutel's current situation in Ladonia. He had a hunch that Gejutel did not tell the leader the truth about Rai. Because of this, Rai decided to return to Ladonia. When Raizel and Sierra arrived in Ladonia, Rasri immediately asked her if it was true that they had met Rai. Sierra refused to speak, so she used her power to find out the truth. Because Raizel felt pity on Sierra's condition, he told Rasri that he had not faced any noble and only powerful people. When Korea spoke, Rasri stopped what she was doing to Sierra. Rasri ordered Korea to put Sierra in jail, and she also told Raizel to question Gejutel again. Meanwhile, Rai, Frankenstein and Regis started to travel towards Ladonia. But before they left, Frankenstein gave the three a drug which he called T2 to boost their powers. He said that they could use it if the Union people attacked again while he was away with Rai. The other clan leaders talked about Gejutel and Sierra's imprisonment. They wonder why they were not talking about anything, since it was impossible for them to betray Rasri. Suddenly, someone came there to inform them that a plane from the human world crashed on the coast near Ladonia. But it had not been determined who was on board, and only wrecked parts of the plane were found there. At that moment, Rai's group was walking towards his mansion. When Rai entered the mansion, he felt an aura and Frankenstein told Regis to stay downstairs. When Rai opened the door, they saw the leader's soul weapon, called Ragnarok. Regis sensed that there were nobles in the forest near the mansion, so he checked on them. He fought against them, but there were a lot of them that he could not handle the situation, and they managed to surround him. Suddenly, some of them were hit by gunfire, and they heard someone speak. They introduced themselves as RK4, and they turned out to be M21, Takeo and Tao. They quickly defeated the nobles, and Regis could not believe that they were also in Ladonia. When they got home, they explained to Frankenstein why they came to Ladonia, and said they wanted to help. Frankenstein told the four of them that Gejutel and Sierra might not be in a good situation and needed help. Rai added that there was a high possibility that this was because the two were trying to protect him. He revealed that he was the noble that they were looking for a long time, and was accused of killing the former leader. M21 asked if Rai was also a noblesse like Regis. Frankenstein replied to this that it was both right and wrong. He clarified that the noblesse was not a group of nobles. The noblesse was an incomparable creature that was far from other nobles. And this noblesse was none other than Rai, or better known as Catus Etrama de Raizel. After they heard all of Frankenstein's words, they decided to support Rai. Regis said that since their clan leader chose to protect Rai, he also promised his full support to him. Rai decided to visit the sanctuary located in the castle. Ludis gave information to Rasri and confirmed that Rai's group were indeed the ones on board the plane that crashed, and Regis fought against the Central Order of Knights in the Forbidden Region. Since Rai's mansion was in the Forbidden Region, Rasri told Ludis to order the soldiers to retreat, because they could not do anything against Rai. But from what Regis did, Rasri considered it as proof that Gejutel betrayed her, so she needed to punish him with forced eternal sleep. The clan leaders were surprised and did not agree with Rasri's decision, because almost all of the clan leaders were taken care of by Gejutel. Because of this, Rasri decided to let Gejutel choose his fate. While she was on her way to Gejutel, she remembered the past when she heard her father ask Rai if he wanted to be the leader of the nobles. She could not accept that despite her efforts, her father still preferred Rai over her. When she arrived at Gejutel's prison, she informed him of Rai's return to Ladonia. She made him choose whether he would tell the truth that he and Rai had met, or accept his punishment. Gejutel could not do anything but tell the truth that he and Rai met, but he still asked her to punish him with forced eternal sleep, and this made Rasri even more angry. Rasri informed the other clan leaders of his verdict on Gejutel, and ordered Rajak and Koreas to attack Rai's group. Sierra heard the soldiers talking about Rasri's verdict on Gejutel, so she suddenly broke the railing with her soul weapon. Rai started to go towards the sanctuary, while Regis and M21 went to act as bait and keep the guards away. While they are Takeo and Tao were just behind them to serve as their backup. Raizel suddenly met Regis and he told him about the punishment of Gejutel. While Regis was still stunned by what he heard, Raizel rushed forward, but M21 attacked him, so he retreated. Then M21 told Regis to go ahead, and that they would take care of Raizel. A few minutes later, Koreas and Rajak saw Regis. Rajak was about to follow him, but Koreas stopped him and said that he would be the one who would take care of him. While M21 continued to fight, Takeo and Tao were just hidden in the distance, and were aiming at Raizel. Until Raizel fell into their trap, and using bullets from Takeo's gun they blew it up. But Raizel took out his soul weapon, which Rai and Frankenstein also saw. They are about to continue walking, but Rai knew that Frankenstein wanted to go to M21. M21 had a hard time keeping up with his opponent, and Raizel could easily dodge the bullets from Takeo. They fought Raizel up close, but they could not keep up with his strength. Rajak suddenly came there and Frankenstein too, so they both rushed against each other. Raizel attacked M21, and Frankenstein was able to block it. But he was injured by Rajak's attack. Because of this, Rajak injured himself because he knew that Frankenstein would have avoided his attack if Raizel had not intervened. In the continuation of their battle, Raizel could see that Rajak was struggling, so he suggested to Rajak to combine their soul weapons. It turned out that this was part of the original soul weapon of the former clan leader and their father, named Rhaegar. Rajak rejected it because he believed that their father had a reason why he divided his soul weapon, and instead of bequeathing it to Rajak as the new clan leader, Rhaegar chose to divide it in two, so that Raizel could also have it. When Koreas and Regis faced each other, he told Regis to leave Ladonia for the meantime and come back when everything was fine. Regis refused this, and like their clan leader, he would also face the punishment that would be imposed on him. So Koreas said that if he wanted to reach the castle, he would have to pass him first. Regis started to rush at him, but due to the difference of their strength, he could not hit Koreas and he was the only one beaten in their fight. Until he could not handle the injuries he had sustained. When Sierra was about to go to prevent Gejutel's punishment, Rosaria stopped her and told her to go back to her prison. Sierra refused, and that was when Rosaria started to attack, which Sierra immediately retaliated against. They both took out their soul weapons and started to fight. Even though Sierra was one of the clan leaders, she still could not match the strength of Rosaria. Rasri suddenly summoned Rosaria to start punishing Gejutel, and she also brought Sierra along. Due to Sierra's escape from her prison to rescue Gejutel, Rasri decided to punish her with eternal sleep as well. Gejutel insisted that Sierra and Rai had done nothing wrong. He also revealed to other clan leaders what he saw as one of the reasons why Rasri was so angry with Rai. He said that the former leader offered Rai to become the next leader to replace him. The clan leaders were surprised by what they heard, and Gejutel also noted that Rasri did not even try to find out the true feelings of the former leader and Rai. She did not even find out why the former leader hesitated to bequeath the throne to her, and why Rai also did not accept the offer on him to inherit the throne. He added that Rasri let her emotions engulf her, and Ladonia would not reach anything if he was like this all the time. The clan leaders did not agree with Gejutel out of respect for Rasri. Rasri took out the soul weapon Ragnarok and approached Gejutel. Before she could carry out the punishment, Rai suddenly came. He said that he would not allow her to put Gejutel into forced eternal sleep, but Kay immediately blocked him. Kay attacked repeatedly, but Rai did not even budge. Rosaria also started to attack, but it still did not work. When Rai returned Rosaria's attacks, Ludis also helped to block it. But even the attack he made was only destroyed by Rai. Rai used his mind control power and they slowly fell to their knees. Sierra thought that only a leader had the ability to control a clan leader. So Gejutel mentioned that even though the leader was higher than all the nobles, the noblesse was more powerful. Rasri approached to fight Rai, and the other nobles immediately felt her aura, so they immediately returned to the castle and Frankenstein also followed. Rasri attacked repeatedly, but was unable to hurt Rai. That was when Rasri used her blood field, but Rai easily destroyed it. The three clan leaders stood in front of Rasri to protect her. They simultaneously attacked Rai, but they could not even hit him. Rai used his blood field, and Rasri confronted him with her blood field to counter Rai's attack, and was able to hit him. They both weakened, and Frankenstein also came to support Rai. Rai approached Rasri and took out another Ragnarok. With its union on Rasri's Ragnarok, his father or the former leader suddenly appeared. He spoke to Rasri and said that he knew that what happened to him caused trouble in Ladonia. He explained the reason why he chose to practice eternal sleep on himself. He said that the nobles had the ability to live forever if they just wanted to, but he still saw something missing. Compared to people who only lived for a shorter time and were weaker than the nobles, they were finding a way to increase their lifespan and become even stronger. This was the evolution that he saw as lacking in the nobles. So he thought that maybe it was time for the race of nobles to evolve. He spoke to clan leaders and other high officials whom he trusted with his plans. He told them that to entrust the future of Ladonia to the new generation, he volunteered to perform the eternal sleep. He added that many also decided to go along with his plan, but he did not allow Gejutel so he could guide the new generation. The clan leaders asked why Gejutel did not tell them this right away. Gejutel replied that due to the sudden incident with their leader and to other clan leaders, the acceptance of the new clan leaders in their duties caused them more confusion than he expected. And this includes Rasri, who would be the next leader. Because of this, someone took this opportunity and spread false information and accused Rai as the culprit of everything. Since he could see that the clan leaders were united to help Rasri, he did not say anything and thought that this would be the best thing for Ladonia. Because of his sin, he was ready for the punishment that would be given to him. Koreas suddenly came and immediately threw Regis. Regis also begged Rasri to punish him too if she would punish their clan leader for his sin. Koreas and Rujuk were impressed by what Regis did. They believed that possible next clan leaders should not be punished because they were the next ones to support the leader and the race of nobles. For this reason, all the clan leaders begged Rasri. Rasri approached Gejutel and broke his and Sarah's handcuffs. At the same time, she also leaned on Gejutel. Before the former leader said goodbye, he apologized for his sudden absence without saying anything to Rasri. Ragnarok also became one and Rasri immediately embraced it. When they recovered from the injuries they sustained, Frankenstein informed them that everything was ready for their return to Japan. Regis and Sierra would also come along because they were given permission to continue their studies. As for Rai's situation, he was still waiting for his decision. While Rai was in the place where he always talked with the former leader, Rasri approached him. She asked him what was his opinion was about her father. Rai remembered the conversation he had with the former ruler about his offer to be his successor on the throne. He wanted Rai to be a model for Rasri until the time come when she would be ready to be the leader of the nobles. According to Rai, he saw nothing but a proud and a loving father. Rasri suddenly laughed at what Rai said. Rai also decided to join Frankenstein in returning to the human world. This is the end of the last episode of Noblesse. I hope you like it and give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss newly uploaded videos. Thank you for watching.